Hey guys, if you're someone who has been looking for the marking scheme for the May-June 2024 paper code 0580, paper 3-1, then you're in the right place because we're going to solve this paper today. And while we're solving, I'm going to share some tips and tricks which will help you save time. So let's go. Question number 1 says the cost of a cinema ticket is $6.30. Work out the total cost of 4 tickets. So easy, you just multiply 6.30 with 4 to find the total cost of 4 tickets. And that's going to be $25.2. Next part says that the cinema sells 10 tickets for the price of 9 tickets. A group of 10 people go to the cinema. Work out how much each person must pay. So the cost of 10 tickets is sold for the cost of 9 tickets. So what we do is we first find the cost of 9 tickets. So that's going to be 6.30 times 9, which is going to give us $56.70. Now to find the cost that each person pays from the group of 10 people, we will divide this cost by 10. Once again, the question says that the cinema sells 10 tickets for the price of 9 tickets. So first we find the price of 9 tickets and then we divide that by 10 to see how much each person is paying in that group of 10 people. So 56.7 divided by 10 is 5.67. That is your answer. Part B says the cinema has 650 seats. There are 26 seats in each row. Work out the number of rows. Simple, you divide 650 by 26, and that is going to give us 25. Then it says 84% of the seats are occupied. Work out how many seats are not occupied. So that means 100 minus 84, which is basically 16%. So 16% of the seats are not occupied. So what we'll do is we'll multiply 16 over 100 with the total number of seats, which is 650. And that is going to give us 104. So that's your answer. Part C says, Suki buys a bag of popcorn and a bottle of water. A bag of popcorn costs twice as much as a bottle of water. So if the water is X dollars, popcorn is going to be 2X dollars. She receives $3.55 change from $10. Work out the cost of a bag of popcorn and the cost of a bottle of water. So when she pays $10 and purchases the popcorn and bottle of water, she's getting 3.55 back. So let's first find the amount spent. That's going to be the difference of 10 and 3.55, which is basically equal to $6.45. Now this 6.45 is basically spent on buying the popcorn and water bottle. Since we don't know how many popcorns or water bottles they bought, we'll just put X plus 2X equal to 6.45. Why? Because the cost of water was X and the cost of popcorn is twice of water, so that's 2X. So 6.45 equals to X plus 2X, which is equal to 3X. So X is going to be 6.45 divided by 3. And that is going to give us $2.15 for the cost of water. And then for the popcorn, it's twice of 2.15. And that's basically equal to $4.30. So popcorn is 4.30 and water is 2.15. Part D says a film lasts for 155 minutes. Write 155 minutes in hours and minutes. So whenever you're converting minutes into hours and minutes, remember that 1 hour has 60 minutes. So if 1 hour has 60 minutes, 155 can be split into 120 plus 35 minutes. Now we know 120 is a multiple of 60, which means two 60s make a 120. So that's 2 hours equal to 120 minutes. And the 35 minutes will remain in minutes because they want the answer in hours and minutes. So that's going to be 2 hours and 35 minutes. That's your answer. Then another film starts at 14:45 and lasts for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Work out the time that this film finishes. So we're going to add 14:45 and 2 hours and 20 minutes. So that's 5, that's 6, and that is 16. Now, your minutes cannot be greater than 60 because 1 hour has 60 minutes. So that means we'll take this hour from 65 minutes and put it into the hour section. So that's going to be 17:05. That is the time at which your movie finishes. Once again, your minutes cannot be greater than 60. So whenever you see your minutes greater than 60, you will take an hour out of it and put it in the hour section. So that means 16 will become 17 and 65 becomes 5. Part E says the table shows the hours that Trevor works in the cinema each week. So we have the number of hours for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Trevor is paid $11.50 per hour for the time he works before 18. He is paid 30% more for the time he works after 18. Work out how much Trevor is paid each week. So if you look at the before 18, that's for these 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is before and this is after. So now before, he's being paid $11.50 per hour. And for after, he's being paid 30% more for the time he works after 18. So 30% more means we need to find 30% of 11.5. So for that, 11.5 times 30 over 100. And then we add this to 11.5. Or another way you could do is that you could just find 130% of 11.5. This will give you the time for, this will give you the price for this will give you the price that he's paid after 18. So this equals to 14.95 per hour. So this is for after. So now let's find the price for each day. So for Monday, he's working no hours, so no price. Tuesday, again, no price. Wednesday, he's working from 18 to 22, so that's 4 hours. So we do 4 times 14.95, and that basically gives us $59.8. Then for Thursday, same thing, 4 hours. So that's again going to be $49.8. For Friday, he's working for 5.5 hours. So that's 5.5 hours. Again, 5.5 hours. And over here, it's 5 hours. So Friday, the price is 11.5. So 5.5 times 11.5. And that gives us $63.25. Saturday is also the same. 63.25. 63.25. And for Sunday, it's 5 times 11.5, and that is basically $57.5. So now to figure out how much he's paid each week, what we will do is we will add up all this because these are for the days. Total is going to be the sum of 59.8 plus 59.8 plus 63.25 plus 63.25 and then 57.5. And that gives us $303.6. That is what Trevor is paid each week. Question 3 says, Chen asked some people if they prefer a beach, cruise, lake, or mountain holiday. The pie chart shows the results. We have to find the fraction of people who prefer a mountain holiday, giving your answer in its simplest form. So the people who prefer mountain holiday are over here. So we'll do 120 over 360. Why 120 over 360? Because sum of angles for a circle is 360. And out of that 360, 120 degrees is for mountain. So 120 over 360, and that equals to 1 over 3. Second part says find the percentage of people who prefer a beach holiday. So for a beach holiday, we will do 135 over 360 times 100. So that will give us 37.5%. That is the percentage of people who prefer a beach holiday. Third part says find the ratio of people who prefer each type of holiday in the form of beach is to cruise, is to lake, is to mountain, giving your answer in the simplest form. So for beach is to cruise, is to lake, is to mountain, we have 135 for beach, cruise is 30, lake is 75, and mountain is 120. So now we're going to simplify this ratio. All of these are divisible by 5. So I'm going to divide all of them by 5. That's going to give me 25 is to 6 is to 15 is to 24. So that is your answer in its simplest form because we cannot further break these down. Next part says that one person is chosen at random. Find the probability that this person prefers a cruise or a lake holiday. So if he prefers a cruise or a lake holiday, cruise is 30 degrees and lake holiday is 75 degrees. So we're going to do 30 over 360. That is the probability of the person choosing cruise. Plus, because whenever it says or, that means addition. If it says and, that means multiply. So lake holiday is 75. So plus 75 over 360, which is basically 105 over 360. Want to simplify this, that's going to be 21 over 120, which can further be that's going to be 21 over 72, which is 7 over 24. That is the probability that the person prefers a cruise or a lake holiday. Next part says that 675 people prefer a beach holiday. Show that the total number of people Chen asked is 1800. So what we're going to do is, we know that the beach holiday has an angle of 135. So 135 over 360 is basically the same as 675 over x. X being the total number of people. Because 675 people prefer the beach holiday, so that amount of people is represented by the angle 135. And the total number of people is represented by the total angle of the pie chart, which is 360. So 135 over 360 is the same as 675 over the total number of people. Cross multiply to make x the subject. So it's going to be 675 times 360 divided by 135. And that is going to give us 1800. Next part says that complete the table. So they've given us a table where we have the type of holiday, the pie chart, sector angle, and the frequency. So to find the frequency for lake, what we're going to do is we're going to do 75 over 360 times 1800 because that is the total number of people. This is for lake. And that is going to give us 375. Then for mountain, we're going to do 120 over 360 times 1800. And that is going to give us the value of 600. So this is the frequency for each of these categories. Now they're asking us to complete the bar chart, including the scale on the frequency axis. Going back to our values, we have 375 and 600 over here. So I'm going to give this a scale of 150, then 300, 300, then 450, then 600, then 750. So for 150, first one is 675. So 750 plus 600 divided by 2, 675. So this is going to be for beach, because the middle value of 600, 750, 675. Then for cruise, it's 150. For lake, it's 375. And for mountain, it's 600. And that is your bar chart. Next part says that Mr. Gibb pays $2,208 for a holiday. Mr. Shah pays 2,050 euros for the same holiday. The exchange rate is €1 equals to $1.15. Work out how much more in euros Mr. Shah pays for the holiday than Mr. Gibb. So what we're going to do is we're first going to see how many euros are there in $1. So for $1, we'll have 1 divided by 1.15, which is basically 0.8695 euros. Now, we're going to convert Mr. Gibb's holiday into euros. So Mr. Gibb in euros. So that's going to be 0.8695 times 2,208, which is basically going to give us 1,920 euros. So now to compare their cost in euros, we're going to subtract the two. So how much more? That's going to be 2,050 minus 1,920, which is basically equal to 130 euros. So that is the answer. Question 3 says, here is part of the timetable for trains from Hinton to Jarmouth. All trains take the same time to travel from Hinton to Jarmouth. So we have to complete the table. So if they're taking the same time, we can find the travel time from this one. 12:35 minus 11:15. This is your departure. And this is your arrival. So we subtract the departure time from the arrival time. And that gives us 1 hour and 20 minutes. So if it's 1 hour and 20 minutes, we're going to add that to the departure time of Hinton. That is 11:67. So as we discussed earlier, your minutes cannot be greater than 60. So we'll take 1 hour from 67 and put it to 11. So that's going to be 12:07. So 12:07 is the time when the Hinton train arrives. Next part says that Marge arrives at Hinton Station exactly 20 minutes before the 10:47 train leaves. So we have to complete the clock diagram to show the time she arrives at Hinton Station. So if it's exactly 20 minutes before the 10:47 train station leaves, it's going to be at 10:27. So 10:27 is going to be, small hand is going to be at 10 and the big hand is going to be at 27. So that's somewhere over here. That's your answer. Part B says each day a bus leaves Texford to travel at Cranbrook every 45 minutes. The first bus leaves Texford at 7:10. The last bus leaves Texford at 22:10. Work out the number of buses that travel from Texford to Cranbrook each day. So what we'll do is we'll first find the time between when the last bus leaves and the first bus leaves. So that's 22:10 minus 7:10, and that's basically 15 hours. So in the middle, when the first bus leaves and last bus leaves, you have 15 hours. So let's convert the 15 hours into minutes. So that's going to be 15 times 60, which is basically 900 minutes. So 900 minutes are going to be divided by 45 to find the number of buses. Why? Because every 45 minutes, a bus is leaving. So in total, we have 900 minutes between the departure of the first bus and the last bus. 900 divided by 45, and that gives us 20. So 20 buses travel from Texford to Cranbrook each day. Part C says the cost of a bus pass increases every year. On 1st January 2023, the cost of the bus pass increases by 10%. On 1st January 2024, the cost of the bus pass increased by 5%. So we have to calculate the cost of the bus pass on 1st January 2024. So it's beginning with 50%. Next year, it's increasing by 10%. So for 2023, we're going to do 50 times 110 to find the cost of the bus in 2023. And that is going to give us $55. So then in 2024, that cost is being increased by 5%. So now 55 times 105 over 100. So that's going to give us $57.75. So this is the cost of the bus pass on 1st January 2024. Part D says the Venn diagram shows information about the number of workers in a hotel who travel to work by bus and train. Work out the number of workers in the hotel. So for that, we're going to add everything. 107 plus 31 plus 9 plus 85. Now you must be wondering, why am I adding 9 once? Even though 9 is common between the bus and the train. Whatever element that is common, you only added once, you never added twice. Because if we added twice, that's going to give us a value that's greater than the total number. So 31 plus 9 plus 85 plus 107, and that is equal to 232. That is total number of people. Then it says work out the number of B union T. When you see the U sign, that means union. And union means all elements. Elements in B and T. So all elements in B and T are 31 plus 9 plus 85. And that is going to give us 125. Next part says explain in words what the number 85 in the Venn diagram represents. So as you can see, 85 isn't just this part. It's not a part of the common elements. So 85 represents the number of workers who are 85 is the number of workers who just travel by train. Keyword being just. If you say they travel by train, they can include the people who travel by bus as well. So 85 is the number of people who just travel by train and not by bus. Next part says one of the workers is chosen at random. Find the probability that this worker travels to work by bus and train. So if it's bus and train, that's the union. So that's going to be 125 divided by the total 232. And that's your answer. We can't further simplify this. Next part says that the total has single and double bedrooms in the ratio single is to double, which is 3 is to 8. There's 75 more double rooms than the single rooms. So if single is X, double is 75 plus X. We have to work out the number of single rooms. So what we will do is that we can use this ratio and say that if we create the ratio for single rooms. So single would be 3 over 3 plus 8. That's 3 over 11. To find the number of single rooms, we'll do X, which is the number of single rooms that we're assuming, equals to 3 over 11 times the total, which is X plus 75 plus X. Because we have only single and double rooms. So if single is X and double is 75 plus X, total number of room is X plus 75 plus X. So this is going to give us 2X plus 75, which is basically 11X equals to 6X plus 225. 11X minus 6X is 225. 5X is 225. And X is going to be 45 because we divide 225 by 5. That gives us the number of single rooms. Question 4 says the stem and leaf diagram shows the ages of the 16 workers in a shop on 1st January 2022. Work out the range. So for the range, we need the maximum and the minimum value. This is your maximum value. This is your minimum value. So range is max minus min, which is basically 61 minus 23, and that is equal to 38. And they've already given the key over here, so don't make the mistake of doing 1 minus 3 or 3 minus 1 or 6 minus 2. That would be wrong. Take the complete number and then subtract the 2. Next part says write down the mode. So mode is your highest frequency. So highest frequency is the number that's occurring the most in your data set. And as you can see in our data set, the number that's occurring the most is 36, not 6, 36. Once again, you will write the complete number, not just one part of the number. Next part says work out the median. So median is your middle value. So to figure out the middle value, We need to see whether the data set is even or odd. It's an even number of data set because you have 16 workers. So we know 16 divided by 2 is 8. But if we take the 8th value, which is going to be this one, that is not right in the middle because 439, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 values. And after 39, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 values. So, which means we have to take 39 and 41. And then you find the value right in the middle of 39 and 41. Because that value will be in the middle of this data set. Every other value you choose, whether it's 39 or 41, that is not right in the middle of the data set. So make sure to first check whether your data set is an even number of values or an odd number of values. For the odd numbers, you can just directly see which value is in the middle and you pick that. But if it's an even number of data values, then you have to pick the two values in the middle and then you find the average of that value and write that. So in our case, it's going to be 39 plus 41 divided by 2, which is 40. So that is your median value. Also, another thing, if your data values are not given in the stem and leaf diagram form, and they're just like, they've given you the proper values, like, like they give values. So make sure when you're trying to find the median, make sure to rearrange the data set in ascending order and then see which value is in the middle and use that to find the median. Next, it says work out the percentage of workers that are older than 40 but younger than 60. So older than 40 but younger than 60. So that's like this data set. So that's 41, 41, 47, 50, 57, 58. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. So that's going to be 7 over 16 times 100, which is basically going to give us 43.75%. That is the percentage of workers that are older than 40 but younger than 60. Next part says on 1st January 2023, the shop has the same 16 workers. Write down the range, the mode, and the median on 1st January 2023. As you can see, they've highlighted 2023, and the values given initially in the question were for 2022. So which means we have to add 1 year to each of those values and then find the range, mode, and median. So for our minimum value, we had 23. This is for 2022. For our max value, we had 61. Then for our mode, we had 36. And lastly, for our median, we were finding the middle value of 39 and 41. So for 2023, what's going to happen is that when you add 1 to the minimum value, that's going to give us 24. The maximum value is going to become 62. Your mode is going to become 37. And your median will be 40 plus 42 divided by 2, which is 41. So median is 41 now. Mode is 37. And for your range, that's still going to be the same. Because when we subtract the 2, that's still 38. So remember, they've also highlighted it, 2023. And initially, it is in 2022. So if we go back to the question, see, they've also highlighted over here 2022 in bold and 2023 in bold, so that you don't make the mistake of missing out, what year it is. So since a year has been added, so you will add 1 year to each of these age that we've already used, and then find the new range, mode, and median. Part C says on 1st January 2024, now the oldest worker leaves. So his replacement is a new worker born on 12th November 1970. There are no other changes to the workers. So the oldest worker, which was the 61-year-old man, he left in 2024. So we have to complete the stem and leaf for the 1st January 2024. So for this, if we compare it, 23, 25, 27. So they've added 2 years now. 23 is 25, 25 is 27, and 27 is 29. So we're going to add 2 years to each of these ages. So that means for 40, it's going to be 43, 43, 49, 52, 59, 59, 60. And the last person has left. And he has been replaced by someone who was born in 1970. Someone who was born in 1970 would be 54 years old in 2024. So this was the new person. So now if we put this information in the stem and leaf, 43, so we have 3 for 43, 149, then 52, 59, 59, and we have a 54, so that's going to come off first. 54, 59, 59, and then a 60. So this will be your stem and leaf diagram for 1st January 2024. Remember, you will add 2 years to the original stem and leaf diagram because that was for 2022. So we have 2023 in the middle and then 2024. So adding 2 years, then you will add those ages over in the stem and leaf diagram. And since the oldest worker, which was 61 years old, was replaced by a new worker, which is now 54 years old. For this is the shop owner is X years old. X is a prime number, X plus 2 is a square number, and X minus 2 is a multiple of 9. Find the value of X. So for this, I'm going to start with the second statement first. X plus 2 is a square number, and I'm going to say that it equals to y squared because y is a square number. Okay. So we have to pick a number which is square. When you subtract 2 from it, it should be a prime number. If we use 25, 25 is x plus 2. And 25 minus 2 is 23. It meets the first condition, that is a prime number. But if we subtract 2 from it, it gives us 21, which is not a multiple of 9. So 25 is not the right option. If we take 36, 36 equals to x plus 2. 36 minus 2 is 34. This is not a prime number, so 34 is also out of our options. Now, if we take 49, 49 is x plus 2. So 49 minus 2 is 47. So yes, it is a prime number. Then if we do 47 minus 2, which is 45, which is a multiple of 9. So x is 47. That is the age of the shop owner. So in such questions, I would suggest to first understand what the statement is saying, make it into an equation, and then use trial and error to see which one of the values meets the criteria given the question. As you can see, for 25, it met the criteria for a prime number. However, when we did it for the third one for multiple of 9, we could see that 21 was not the multiple of 9. So we had to move on to another number. So for this, just start somewhere in the middle and start using values and see which one falls under the given criteria. Question 5 says the diagram shows a triangle EFG and a straight line HFI. HFI is parallel to EG. Angle EFG is 105. Write down the mathematical name for this type of angle. So that's obtuse. Any angle that's greater than 90 is an obtuse angle. Any angle less than 90 is an acute angle. Next part says work out the value of E. Give a geometrical reason for your answer. So for E, this is going to be 180 minus 105 minus 52, which is basically equal to 23 degrees. Now, the reason for this is that sum of angles in a triangle equals 180. That is exactly why the value of E is 23, because we subtract the given angles from 180 to see what the value of the third angle is. Find the value of F, give a geometrical reason for your answer. So for F, we know that E is 23 now. F is going to be 23 as well. Why? Because alternate segment theorem. In alternate segment theorem, like what happens is that whatever angles are on the inside of the triangle, they go on the alternate side outside the triangle. So this 23 comes over here and this would be 52. And if you add up all three of them, that would equal to 180, which is also shown from the straight line HFI. So if you look at the keywords in the question, straight line, which means the sum of angles will always equal to 180. And if this is 105, and based on the alternate segment theorem, opposite angles come outside in the opposite segment. So E is F and G is this one. So while keeping that in mind, F is also 23 because alternate segment theorem. Part B says calculate the interior angle of a seven-sided regular polygon, giving your answer correct to two decimal places. So for the interior angle, your formula is n minus 2 times 180 divided by n. So that's going to be 7, n being the number of sides, minus 2 times 180 divided by 7. And that equals to 128.57 degrees. That is the value of the interior angle of this regular sided polygon. Part C, the diagram shows a regular pentagon with sides 15 centimeters. Work out the values of W, X, and Y. So as you can see, it's a regular pentagon, which means all sides are equal. And the sides are equal to 15 centimeters. So to find the value of W, X, and Y, you will put each of these lengths equal to 15. So let's start with W. 15 equals to 2W. So 7.5 centimeters, or 7.5 actually. 7.5 equals to W. Then 5 times X plus 7 equals to 15. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. And X equals to 3 minus 7, which is negative 4. So now for W, it's W plus negative 4 plus 7.5, and this equals to 15. So that's going to be 15 minus 3.5 equals to W, and that's 11.5. Sorry, that was Y, not W. Then Y. Yeah. So 11.5 is the value of Y. So once again in the question, look for keywords. Regular pentagon. Regular means that all sides are going to be equal, which means all angles are also going to be equal. So all of the interior angles, they're exactly the same, and all of these sides are same. Question 6 says the diagram shows a point P, three triangles, A, B, and C, and part of a triangle D on a 1 centimeter square grid. So this, and this. On the grid, mark the image of point P after reflection of the line y equals to 0. So y equals to 0 is basically your x-axis. So reflection basically is a mirror image, as you know. So it's going to be equidistant from the mirror line. So we have 4 points over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. This is going to be your reflection of point P in the x-axis or the y equals to 0 line. Then use trigonometry to calculate A. Okay, so for this, we can see that this distance is 3 and this distance is 4, because the difference between these 2 points and difference between these 2 points. So we have the opposite, which is 3. We have the adjacent, which is 4. So we can easily use tangent. Tan of A equals to 3 over 4. So angle A equals to tan inverse of 3 over 4, which is equal to 36.87 degrees. That is the value of angle A. Describe fully the single transformation that maps triangle A onto triangle B. So for triangle A onto triangle B, we can see that this is where your angle A is. So it's a 90-degree anti-clockwise rotation. Triangle. It's a 90-degree clockwise rotation because we're going from this to this direction. 90 degrees clockwise rotation. And for this center of rotation, it's the origin. So that's your answer. Then triangle A onto triangle C. So a triangle A onto triangle C, this is clearly a translation. Why? Because the direction of the shape is exactly the same. There is no difference in that. So what we can do is we can pick a point over here and the same point on shape C and see how the coordinates have changed. So this over here is 1, 4. And this over here is 7 and -1. So as you can see, to go from 1 to 7, we're adding 6. To go from 4 to -1, we're subtracting 5. So it's a translation by vector 6 and -5. Next part says that triangle A has been enlarged with center 1, 0 to give triangle D. The grid is only large enough to show one vertex and part of 2 of the sides of triangle D. Write down the scale factor of the enlargement and find the coordinates of the other 2 vertices of triangle D. So for the scale of enlargement, 1, 0 is this. This is our center of enlargement. So if we compare the distance of this point from the center, we can see that it's 1 unit. Now, if we compare the distance of this point from the center, we can see it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 7 units. So that clearly shows that the scale factor over here is 7. Now, talking about the other vertices, this point over here, this is 1, 7. So this over here length was 3 and this was 4. Since the scale factor is 7, that means this distance will increase by 7 times. So 3 times 7 is going to be 21. And this distance will increase by 7 as well. So 4 times 7 is 28. So that means to 1 over here, we'll add 28. So that's going to be over here at 29 and 7. And over here for the other vertex, it's going to be 7 plus 21, 128. So that is the next vertex. So we have 128 and 29, 7. These are the other two vertices for the enlarged shape. Question 7a says the scale drawing shows the position of a castle C. Scale is 1 centimeter represents 2 kilometers. Micah walks at 4.8 kilometers per hour for 3 hours on a bearing of 236 degrees from C to his house H. Mark the position of H on the scale drawing. So if she's walking at a speed of 4.8 kilometers per hour for 3 hours, let's first find the distance that she's walking. So distance is going to be your speed multiplied by time. So 4.8 times 3. And that's going to give us 14.4 kilometers. So now from C, she's walking a distance of 14.4 kilometers. Let's convert that into centimeters. 1 centimeter is 2 kilometers. So 1 kilometer is going to be 0.5 centimeters. So to convert 14.4 kilometers into centimeters, we multiply 14.4 by 0.5, and that's going to give us 7.2 centimeters. Now, using your ruler, what you'll do is you will draw a distance of 7.2 centimeters from C, and that will be at a bearing of 236. So 236 is going to come somewhere over here. Now, I'm making an estimate because, like, since I'm doing this online, I can't draw the exact thing. But it's going to be somewhere over here. And the length of this line, this should be 7.2 centimeters. And this angle, this over here should be 236 degrees. Remember, your bearing is always measured in clockwise direction from the north of the point that you're measuring from. And it goes towards the line on which the other point lies. And your bearing would always be in 3 digits, never in 2 digits, always 3. Part B says restaurant R is on a bearing of 83 degrees from C. Work out the bearing of C from R. So if it's at a bearing of 83 degrees from C, once again, drawing an estimate over here. So 83 would be somewhere over here. This is R and this is 83. We have to find the bearing of C from R. So C from R is going to be, let's first draw the north at R. So C from R is all of this. So now remember, both the norths are parallel. And in parallel lines, when we have a transversal crossing through them, alternate angles are equal, which means this is equal to 83. So for bearing of C from R, we'll just do 83 plus 180. And that is going to give us 263. That's your answer. Next part says that the distance d kilometers from R to C is 5 kilometers, correct to the nearest kilometers. Complete the statement about the value of d. So 5 kilometers correct to the nearest kilometer, which means to degree of accuracy, it's going to be 1 divided by 2, which is 0.5. So degree of accuracy is 1 over 2, which is 0.5. So to find the upper bound, we will add 0.5 to 5. And for the lower bound, we will subtract 0.5 from 5. So that's going to be 5.5. And so it's 4.5. D is less than 5.5, but greater than equal to 4.5. Part C says a model of the castle is made. On the model, the length of the castle walls is 5 centimeters. The actual length of the wall is 90 meters. Find the scale of the model in the form of 1:n. So for this, what we're going to do is that we know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So let's convert the 90 meters into centimeters. So that's going to be 90 times 100. And that's 9,000 centimeters. So now, next what we're going to do is we're going to divide this 9,000 centimeters by 5. Why? Because you're trying to find the value of n. So n is going to be 9,000 divided by 5, which is 1,800. So it's 1:1,800. Once again, on the model, the length of one of the castle is 5 centimeters. In reality, the length of the wall is 90 meters. So 90 converted to centimeters is 9,000 centimeters. And since we're trying to find the scale of the model, you always divide the actual length by the model length. So 9,000 divided by 5 gives us 1,800. And remember that the n value has to be in centimeters, not meters. Next part says that the castle has 2 tickets with rectangular floors. Rectangle ABCD is mathematically similar to rectangle EFGH. Calculate the value of x. So to calculate the value of x, what we'll do is we'll write 5.6 divided by 9.2 is equal to 8.4 divided by x. Now, the reason why I'm writing an equation where the two fractions equal to each other is because these two floors are mathematically similar. When they're mathematically similar, that means one shape, let's say ABCD, has been enlarged by scale factor to give us the other shape, which is EFGH. So if they're sharing this scale factor, that means when we divide corresponding lengths, that gives us a scale factor. That is exactly why when I divided 5.6 by 9.2, I put equal to 8.4 divided by x, because all the lengths are going to be enlarged by the same scale factor. They're not going to be enlarged by a different scale factor. Hence, you make a fraction out of the corresponding lengths, put them equal to each other, and find the missing value. So in this case, x is going to be 8.4 times 9.2 divided by 5.6, and that's going to give us 13.8 meters. That is your answer. Next part says that the castle has a cylindrical tower. The tower has a radius of 2.4 meters and a height of 25 meters. Calculate the curved surface area of the tower. So for the curved surface area, that's basically 2 pi RH. So 2 times pi times 2.4 times 25. And that is going to give us 376.99 meters square. Since it's the curved surface area, area means power is going to be 2. Whereas volume, the power is going to be 3. Next question says that the table shows some values for y equals to x squared minus x minus 3. We have to complete the table first. So we substitute the values of x into the given equation and find the corresponding y values. When you substitute x equals to -3, what we should get is 9. When you substitute x equals to -2, that's going to be 3. Then at 0, it's -3, -3. And at 3, it's going to be 3. So these are your values for y. Part B is on the grid. Draw the graph of y equals to x squared minus x minus 3 for x greater than equal to -3, but less than equal to 4. So now we'll just plot these points on the grid. Okay, so -3 and 9. So that's over here. -2 and 3. That's over here. -1, 1. That's here. Then 0, -3 over here. 1, -3 here. 2, -1 over here. And 3, 3. Over here. Yeah. And 4, 9 over here. So I'm going to try my best to make a neat graph. So this is your quadratic graph for the given values. Then it says write in the coordinates of the lowest point on the graph. So lowest point on the graph, for me, I think since it's not well drawn, so I'm going to tell you this trick. So you can use this formula x equals to -b over 2a to find your maximum or minimum volume. Find your maximum or minimum volume of the quadratic graph, which is basically your turning point and your lowest point over here as well. So the equation was y equals to x squared minus x minus 3. So based on this, your a is 1, which is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is -3. So x is -1 over 2 times 1, which is 1 over 2. So x value of the lowest point is 1 over 2, and then we can substitute that in the original equation. So y equals to 1 over 2 square minus 1 over 2 minus 3, which is basically going to give us -13 over 4. So our lowest point is 1 over 2 and -13 over 4. Once again, the exam will draw it in a much better way than I did, and you'll be able to highlight your lowest point better. But in case you want to recheck your value, you can just use this formula, x equals to -b over 2a. Substitute the values of a, b, find the x value, then put the x value back into the original equation and find the y value, and then just see if your value is correct or not. Lastly, use your graph to solve the equation x squared minus x minus 3 equals to 7. So if we compare this equation to the original one, we can see that the only difference is that instead of y, we have 7, which means we will draw a line at y equals to 7. Y equals to 7 is this line. So corresponding y values are these two. So once again, in the question it says estimate, so you will be given a range of values, and if your value falls in that range, you're good to go. So that's negative 2.8, and that's 3.7. Yeah. X can either be negative 2.8 or 3.7. That is my answer.